From the unfrozen tundra of Douglas Park in Rock Island. Sunday, you want to see football the way football started? Douglas Park in Rock Island is where you need to be. Vintage football at its finest. Joining us in the studio this morning, Simon Herrera and Chris Zimmerman. These are the two that have put together, they did this last year, and it went over so well. They've put it together once again this year. Put together a vintage football game at Douglas Park in Rock Island. It's Sunday, 2 o'clock if you want to check it out. The festivities kind of get underway at 1:30. Guys, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And let's start with these uniforms that you guys are wearing.
Yes.
Because you did bring in the uniforms. And in fact, you know what? Just real quickly, can you just stand up and show everybody the full?
Oh, sure.
Not wearing the helmet or anything right now. There you go. So cool logos.
All right. What does
M-U-T.
Yeah. The
Moline.
Mutts, the Moline Universal Tractors. For the folks that are locals here, company from years ago, and they were a sponsor of the Moline football team in 1920. Our claim to fame was we were the first team actually ever to play the Chicago Bears.
Wow.
How cool is that? The Moline Universal Tractors.
There's a little trivia for you at some point in the future. The team actually went 0-2 that season and went out of business.
They changed their name so people would actually play them. They're like, we don't want to play those guys. So change their name so they could continue on as someone else.
And, of course, Simon wearing the Rock Island Independence jersey. That logo actually is still pretty close to what you see in Rock Island today, actually, for like the high school and everything else.
Yeah, this logo's been around since early 1900s, and it's seen on like some of the semi-pro baseball teams back then. So this year we changed our jersey a little bit to have that logo that people recognize on there.
Now, why did you guys do this? I mean, I not to question you. I mean, that's very cool.
Oh, no, you are questioning.
I mean, I am.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Well, yeah, I mean, people think we're crazy, but, I'm just a huge football fan, and been researching the Rock Island team for probably 10 years now. And I always thought it would be so awesome in my research just to see what it looked like down at Douglas Park with the crowd there and a game going on, like, just, I'd imagine like what it would be like. So I'd always thought of that in the back of my mind. And then Chris came across my website.
Yeah, looking at the website and being a big Bear fan, kind of the Moline connection. And so I sent an email note and said, hey, if your Rock Island team ever wants to play my Moline team, let's meet in the park.
Did either of you have a team at that time? I mean,
No.
Okay.
No. That was going to
No.
be a challenge for sure, but Chris has a great network of friends here and spread the word. And I told him, hey, we can do it. I'd love to do it, but this is going to be a lot of work, maybe more than if we're going to do it. And he was up for it, so here we are.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. I got a note from Simon probably 6 months into this, and it just said, to all franchise owners. I guess I never really thought of myself as a football franchise owner, but so be it. So
Is
it's
there-
a short season.
yeah, exactly.
Are there any other teams? Have you guys talked to any people who would have played some of these teams back in the day? Is there any chance that we expand this and maybe work another team or two in here?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing when you do the research and look, there's in the Quad City area, there was probably 20, 25 neighborhood teams that popped up, and, Davenport had teams and stuff. So, people could reach out to us. It would be cool if maybe Davenport and Bettendorf played a game, and maybe we played one across for like 2 or 3 games a year in the future.
Kewanee had a team,
Peoria, everybody had a team back then. So it was
the
kind of like
Duluth Eskimos. I mean, all these old teams that you don't hear about now.
Yeah, and in fairness, you guys play flag football, right? There's no reason to go out there and kill yourselves because this was a time when football almost went away because of the people said it was dangerous. Kind of the irony.
Yeah, some of our rules, there's no biting, there's no hitting, there's no.
You can't do actually what you used to do back.
no punching the referee.
Yeah. But even the the refs wearing their outfits, dressing the same way. There's a car club, the Mississippi Valley chapter of the American Automobile Association, but they bring out all their 1920s vehicles and actually line one side of the field. So you got the old Veelies, the Model A's, the Model T's. Some of the folks from the club, our wives dress up in 1920s wear with the old hats.
Wow.
So if folks want to dress up in their 1920s, pull the stuff out of the closet and you'll be fine. You'll fit in.
How many people did you guys do you think showed up last year?
I'd say 400 to 500
Yeah.
And that was pretty good for a first year event for sure.
Yes,
so
it was.
And partially thank you to you guys for having us on the air last year also. So
Well, I'm hoping this grows. I mean, it's just, for the love of both football and history and the history of football, because history of football can be argued. I mean, started right at Douglas Park, at least the National Football League.
definitely, I mean, like when the Rock Island team started was roughly 1902, and that's when it kind of started around the country to get popular. And by 1920, it had grown, and that's why they sort of decided to make this league. Rock Island was in the league because in 1919 they had lost only one game and challenged the Canton Bulldogs. Jim Thorpe was running the team.
Right.
They were undefeated and challenged them to come to Rock Island to Douglas Park to play for the championship. And they refused to come. Just said, well, our season's over. And so Rock Island says, well, you guys chickened out, so we're champs. And they said they were champs. But I guess the thing is they were aware of Rock Island. They knew how good they were. Several teams from Ohio in 1919 did come and play. So when they wanted to expand the league out of Ohio, they invited the Rock Island team. So that's how they got in.
And
Wow.
if the NFL started in 1920, and again with that first kickoff between two of the official teams in that league would have been at Douglas Park. So if you think of the original kickoff to professional football as we know it in the United States, it started in the Quad Cities. It started in Douglas Park. And we're only a couple years away from the 100-year anniversary of that kickoff. And so I just think it'd be fun to have a 100-year party
Yeah, absolutely.
right in Douglas Park.
Well,
Yeah.
how far can you throw that ball? Show the
Yeah,
ball.
pick that ball up for
Yeah,
a second.
sure,
'Cause this
yeah.
is not your regular football ball.
I can
This
barely get my
Yeah.
hands. I personally could probably only throw it 20, 25 yards, and it's going to be a floater. So
Yeah.
that's why there was a lot less passing, more turnovers, and kicking was the strategy. So if you got like a second, third, and long even, they would just punt the ball away and try and catch the team not ready and sort of back them up. And
That's where the quick kick came from.
Do you guys play by all those same rules? I mean, what has changed between the
really, that's what's cool is I actually came across a 1920s rule book, and that's why the year started that.
Wow.
So everything sort of worked out. So let's look at 1920s rules, and they're very similar to today's. The main I guess strategy is what's different in the equipment, of course, but the I guess one of the main differences is if you throw the ball into the end zone, like now if you fumble the ball in the end zone, that's a touchback. If you throw the incomplete pass in the end zone or out of the end zone, that's a touchback also, so it's a turnover. And we had two of those last year where our quarterback threw it in the end zone and the guy didn't catch it, and we had to remind the refs, hey, that's a turnover. So,
Would that
dang.
change the game
Today?
yeah,
Hey,
that would
wow.
actually be pretty cool. You don't
Yeah.
throw it in the end zone unless you guys going to catch it.
Yeah.
Were they pretty clear on what a completed pass is back in the 1920s? Because they still have problems with that today. I mean,
And do you have video cameras there to review your plays?
No, we don't.
Yeah,
All right.
the plays get reviewed later.
Is it called motion
I think
picture?
at the pub. So,
Yeah.
like some guy standing on the side.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
can review it, but they got to go develop the film and bring it
Yeah,
back.
bring it
just,
back, yeah.
It takes a long time. Well, this is such a very cool thing you guys do, and
It really is.
I mean, like I said, whether you love history, you love football, or the history of football, it all comes together.
Right.
And Douglas Park, 2:00 on Sundays when the game gets going. You want people to probably bring chairs, lawn chairs.
Bring
things
lawn
like that,
chairs,
yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Some people
Come join
brought
us.
like the little tents to put over their heads, to protect them from the sun, blankets, and
Is there going to be any food there, or can you bring your own food?
yes, Happy Joe's Pizza will be there, and Bent River Brewing will be there as well.
Pizza and
And
beer,
beer.
Yeah,
and
and-
historic football.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
I know.
Free admission for everybody. So
And there's no cost at all. I mean,
No cost.
no, that's a great thing. We have volunteers that help us. The referees are volunteers, and the players, of course, they actually helped us pay for the jerseys and the use of the park and everything. So huge thanks to them. I mean, and especially last year, they didn't know what they were getting into, but they said they liked football. They wanted to help us out, and they pay to play. So
Wow.
that's great.
Wow, very
Cool.
cool. Well, you guys, it was so nice to meet you. Last year we talked on the phone, and I said, well, we got to see the uniform. So they actually brought
They brought
them
them in.
And we'll have the video up online a little bit later. You can check that out, too. But it's Simon Herrera and Chris Zimmerman joining us this morning. The Vintage Football Game Sunday, Douglas Park in Rock Island. It's right where the NFL started.
Yeah.
So get out and enjoy it. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks for
guys.
having us.
It's 8:50. Dan and Dan, this is AM Quad Cities.